from our 7 Tasmania studios. Your nightly news with Peter Murphy begins now.
The Prime Minister is doubling down on his pledge to protect Tasmanian salmon farming jobs, promising to pass special laws for the industry at Federal Parliament's next sitting. But conservation groups and the Greens fear the law changes set a dangerous precedent for the environment.
With a federal election due any moment now, it's the snap visit the Prime Minister hopes will lift the spirits of Tasmanian salmon workers.
Hi, how you doing? Hi, Belinda.
Stopping by Petuna's Devonport site with his partner for lunch, Anthony Albanese committing to special environment legislation when Parliament resumes.
That's the way to deliver certainty for these workers. And these workers deserve certainty.
Aiming to make good on his promise after inking a letter to salmon bosses last week to safeguard the industry, which has faced more than a year under a cloud, with a potential review of Macquarie Harbour salmon operations on the cards.
The families have been losing a lot of sleep over this issue for a long time, and we just want to see it resolved as quick as possible.
The move sparking outrage among conservation groups from across the country, writing a letter to the PM urging him to abandon the legislation.
We have concerns that it will override national nature laws and could set a really dangerous precedent.
Federal Labor also announcing a $2.9 million cash splash for the Maugean skate breeding program. That announcement has the Greens up in arms.
He's down here wining and dining the big salmon farming corporations and working with them so that they can make bigger profits at the expense of our marine environment.
The position the government is putting.
The Shadow Environment Minister is questioning why Labor's commitments weren't made sooner.
He could have acted 2 weeks ago when Parliament sat. He didn't. And so these words, these commitments he is apparently making mean nothing.
With an election date yet to be announced, it's unclear if Parliament will resume before voters go to the polls. Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
Residents across parts of the West Coast face a nervous night ahead, with authorities warning to prepare for more dangerous fire conditions. For more, we're joined by our reporter, Rebecca Gayton-Neris. Hi, Beck. Just when we thought things were easing, what's the situation tonight?
Murph, conditions have certainly escalated overnight, with hot temperatures and winds adding more fuel to the fire. As we go to air tonight, Granville Harbour residents are being asked to leave now if they can't defend their properties from the fires. Those in Tickawappa and surrounds are asked to prepare to leave, while residents in Pymon Heads, Conical Rocks and surrounds are also urged to prepare to take shelter.
You only have one option, and that's to leave if you're not prepared, and you need to leave early.
And with that weather likely to change tomorrow, a statewide fire ban has been prompted and will come into effect Sunday morning at 2 o'clock until Monday. Murph.
Tasmania's Ukrainian community has stood in solidarity on Hobart's Parliament lawns, marking 3 years since Russia's full-scale invasion of the country.
We are here to assert the idea that Ukraine needs just peace, and Ukraine needs support from all countries that support democracy.
The Association of Ukrainians in Tasmania is calling on locals to donate to the Defend Ukraine Appeal Fund, providing Ukrainian troops on the front line with essentials. Many of Tasmania's well-known tourism events are feeling the squeeze thanks to the rising cost of living and doing business. Ahead of the next federal election, the industry's peak body calling for the next government to work with them on several priorities, claiming it's needed to keep the vital sector going.
Tasmania's tourism sector already provides major economic benefits for the state, but with the federal election looming, the sector is making it clear what they want: a boost from the government.
Tourism in Tasmania represents a huge contributor to the Tasmanian economy. 1 in 8 Tasmanians are supported by the visitor economy.
At the top of their wish list is lowering the cost of doing business and insurance, with many events feeling a pinch to the pocket.
We really believe that we need a national solution, working with Tasmanian and state governments right across the country to look at this really critical issue that's facing operators, especially those in nature-based tourism operations as well as adventure-based operations.
For the Transformer project down at Ida Bay, as well as support for Terhune Airwalk to reinvent and become the real demand driver that it needs to bring people right through the valley.
Festival of Voices is one of those events, organisers calling for extra support to provide services.
We need that funding and support to continue to provide free events and accessible ticketing prices to everyone.
The Tourism Industry Council says 9 of Tasmania's top 10 attractions are publicly owned, highlighting the need for stronger federal support and more investment opportunities. The federal government says it's committed to making insurance costs more affordable and understands the critical role our tourism sector plays in driving the economy and jobs. Sarah Benalik, 7 Tasmania News.
The opposition is calling on the Premier to make a final call on whether to lease Spirit 4. It comes after the state government previously committed to providing an update by the end of this month on its options.
It's been nearly 6 months of talking about leasing these Spirits. No answers about what that will mean for a warranty. Tasmanians have made it clear they want to see new Spirits, they don't want second-hand Spirits.
The government says TT Line is continuing to negotiate a possible lease and that the vessel will be brought back to Tasmania if one can't be arranged. Rotary Tasmania's Community Roadshow is in full swell, with keen mariners taking to the seas today. The vessel, dedicated to teaching young people crucial life skills, continues to see more youth jump on board the Windward Bound.
It's all hands on deck for crew on board this special ship.
On the braces, easing out starboard side, hauling in broadside.
Sailors continuing to keep the Windward Bound in shape as part of a youth development program funded by Rotary. More than 6,000 young Australians taking on the challenge since its maiden voyage.
Really vital for young people. We've been doing this now for 20 plus years.
Giving the opportunity for adventure on the high seas, with crews learning the ropes, reeling in both sailing and life skills.
It's about becoming part of the ship, so as well as them becoming themselves, because this is meant to be such different from everything they've ever done in their life.
But the program isn't all about smooth sailing, pushing sailors out of their comfort zone.
Personally, I get seasick, so that's a big challenge for me.
Encouraging them to adapt to any situation while building resilience and teamwork.
We toss challenge after challenge at them and they have to overcome them, and they do.
And create new lifelong friends at sea.
Meeting new people and doing different experiences and trying new things. It really has a big impact on your mental health and self-confidence, I find.
Stint lengths on board vary from as short as a weekend to as long as several months, with hopes more young people can experience life on board.
First leg of our voyage in April, that goes to Sydney, and then we've got another 9 voyages after that going as far as Mackay, and then back down to Hobart again in November.
Putting the winds in the sails of young Tasmanians. Rebecca Gadineris, 7 Tasmanian News.
There's been a little bit of good news in the northwest. Lake Rosebery has partially reopened to the public after being closed for over a month due to a major oil spill. Marine and Safety Tasmania lifted restrictions overnight across most of the lake, but McIntosh Gorge and Henry Bay boat ramps still remain off limits as final clean-up efforts are ongoing. The Environmental Protection Agency is continuing to investigate the cause of the spill. It was mixed feelings for the Tigers in the WNCL last night against Victoria at Bellerive Oval. Despite winning by 30 runs, other results meant the Tigers missed out on the chance to go for 4 consecutive champion wins. Elise Villani was named player of the match. Tasmania's Jack Welch had a big outing with the Kookaburras in their match against Belgium in the FIH Pro League, scoring a late goal in the 4th quarter to tie the match 2-2.
It's Welsh. Oh, yes. And you have to say, it's nothing less than Australia deserve.
However, it was the Belgians that won the game in a penalty shootout. The women's team also suffered a loss to Belgium, 2-1. The Derwent River came alive again today, buzzing with action for the second day of the Bellerive Regatta. More than 100 boats with sailors of all ages took to the water this morning for the highly anticipated SB20 races. With 10 races lined up, each lasting over 6 hours, the competition tested both endurance and strategy. Organisers say today's conditions were perfect for sailing. Final results of the races will be revealed later tonight. The second stage of the Tour of Tasmania has brought riders to the challenging terrain of Sheffield. Sophie Marr took out first spot in the women's for Praties racing team, completing the course in 3 hours and 7 minutes. Fellow Aussies Keely Bennett and Ali Anderson took out second and third places. In stage 1 of the men's, Kurt Ether came first, crossing the line in 1 hour and 4 minutes, while Tasmanians Josh Duffy and Jonas Shelverton placed 5th and 9th respectively.
Good evening. Hobart recorded 30 today, 31 in Launceston, just behind par of their expected top, 25 at both Devonport and also at Burnie. Much warmer is Strawn with 34 degrees, Grove and Ouse both 32. It was 31 on Flinders Island, King Island 29. Friendly Beaches 26, not far behind in St Helens with 25, 24 recorded at Maria Island and at Laiweni, and 23 at Low Head. Patchy high cloud moved over Tasmania and away to the east, with low-level convective cloud forming about the southwest of the state this afternoon. A frontal cloud band moved over southern SA and extending over the Southern Ocean. Tomorrow, a cold front will cross the state during the day as the low weakens to our west. North to northeasterly winds 20 to 30 knots, but increasing upward of 40 knots in the southwest. During the afternoon, west to southwesterly swells building to 3 metres. We have a severe weather warning tomorrow for damaging winds about west and central plateau regions, and a gale warning between Tasman Island to Low Rocky Point. Further, a strong wind warning has been issued for all remaining coastal waters to include the southwest lakes. Showers on the way for the south tomorrow. Hobart 26, showery too at Richmond, and also windy with 29, and much the same at Ouse with 27. Wet and windy for parts of the north too. Launceston 26, Devonport and Deloraine both 23. Now those showers are likely to ease at Burnie 23, a wet and windy day at Strawn with 27. Similar conditions for Curry with 23. Clearing showers at Swansea, but remaining warm with 28. Showers at Swansea 30, and a bit of wet weather also for Whitemark with 27 there. Forecast for Monday, fine apart from showers about the west. Now they'll ease and contract to the southwest in the evening. Fine on Tuesday apart from light showers about the southwest. 27 the top for racegoers for the Launceston Cup. And on Wednesday, mostly fine apart from light showers which continue about the southwest. To mainland conditions now for Sunday. Possible showers in Melbourne 31, a perfect 29 degrees. In Sydney, partly cloudy. In Brisbane 30. Fine also in Perth, and they're expecting 33 degrees. A glorious evening in Hobart, sunny 28, 29 in Launceston and 24 at Devonport. That's all from me tonight. Murph, I'll be back with a weather update a little later.
And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, Kaya. That's all our news for now. Thanks for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the weekend. I hope to see you tomorrow night. Good night.